Hello, this is episode 1 of the Pod People. Today we've decided to watch the film Invasion of the Body Snatchers because the Pod People.
Yeah.
Very clever, original.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Alright, so I'm not exactly sure what the theme of this thing is. I guess so far in our test podcasts and everything we've done, it's been a lot of like cult classics, things that aren't like super well known and everywhere, but the people that like them a lot.
Yeah.
That's as close as I can really say to it.
Yeah, I think we're just watching movies we want to watch.
Yeah, we're just a group of people who happen to enjoy each other's company talking about movies with a less than stellar reputation.
Yeah, it's like all we're doing is recording what we normally do.
Pretty much.
So
Just decided to throw a couple $100 into some equipment.
That's the
What's
smartest
the
way,
worst
right?
that could happen?
Who knows?
Should I introduce
We'll find out.
everybody?
yeah, I mean it being the first one probably.
Yeah. We have 3 people here today. There's the master of electronics and ceremonies, Tomas.
And that's me. How's it
There
going?
is my man Zach here.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, I guess she'll be listening.
Hey,
One
Mom.
of 3 listeners.
Yeah.
And what are we calling me?
Dutch. That's
Yeah,
what we
okay,
just always
yeah.
call you.
The Dutch.
From Predator. Nothing to do with my genealogy.
Yeah, nothing to do. You
We wish,
ugly
yeah.
son of a bitch.
All right, so Pod People.
Yeah,
Or
Invasion
of the Body
Snatchers.
Snatchers, as it was released. It came out in 1956.
Yeah, on
so
February 5th.
oldie
yeah.
but a good one.
Yeah. The budget was $417,000 to make. So.
Yeah, so about $500,000.
Yeah.
Not bad.
1950s money.
Yeah, that's
so
a lot
I mean
of money,
that's
yeah.
probably a lot of money.
It's a
but
couple million. It earned, according to Wikipedia, about $3 million at the box office. So it got its money back and then some.
This is a great.
It did
movie.
pretty well.
I can understand.
It's pretty well known in the site. Like, if you haven't seen it, you've heard of it. It's the one with the black and white dude. He's afraid, running around.
Yeah.
You've heard of it. There was
exactly.
a 1970s remake. All I know about that one is there's a British guy with a mustache screaming.
Oh,
for
it's
no-
so good.
Is it?
The remake's really good. The one with Donald Sutherland and
Not the one
Leonard
with Nicole
Nimoy.
Kidman in 2007.
no, but the '78 one's bomb, dude.
Oh, maybe
you should
we'll
watch
watch
it.
that sometime.
Oh, maybe. That's
Maybe.
not a bad plan.
Yeah, there you go. We're making these forever. So.
It's so good,
Yeah.
and it's got Jeff Goldblum too.
Jeff Goldblum's in it.
Yes.
Anyway,
I know that's the thinker right there.
so I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anybody in this original Pod People thing.
Well, you knew.
I knew Peckinpah.
Yeah.
I know him as a director. I've actually never seen one of his movies, but I saw him in the opening credits.
You should watch
So,
Raw Dogs.
I'd like to. It
It's
sounds
really
good.
good. It's Dustin Hoffman.
I like Dustin
I
Hoffman.
do too. Even amidst all the.
I don't know.
Well,
So Pod People. It opens up with a police car going down the street. Cops get out. You got a dude in a suit with them. They go into a hospital.
Yeah,
Standard hospital.
it's a regular
Yeah.
hospital. Yeah.
So
And there's that guy wigging out.
yeah, a guy with a suit comes up to the orderly or the head doctor, the guy who's in charge. Cuddy's dad. I don't know who it is. They
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
come in and Dr. Benson or something, I don't know. He was like, yeah, hey, doc. So you have this. He called in a psychiatrist because apparently somebody's wigging out.
Yeah.
So they come and they open the door and the dude bursts out. Cops are holding him back. He's like, oh, you gotta help me. They're like, okay, this guy's crazy. He's like, oh, sit down, And so the psychiatrist, he's really good. He's like, I'll listen to you. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, release this man.
Trained
They let him
professional,
go.
right?
He's 1950s man. He's a man of action. He knows what's going on. He's
Yeah.
in control of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they sit down and he says, all right, it all started last Thursday. And so this disheveled, sweaty man, his hair's in his face. He looks like he hasn't slept in days
Yeah.
because he hasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. So last Thursday, so it turns out that this crazy man is also a doctor,
Yes.
a medical doctor. And he gets off of a train.
Yeah.
His secretary, I guess?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, his secretary, his nurse, somebody picks him up at the train
Yeah,
station.
I think it's his nurse technically.
Yeah, his nurse.
Maybe Sally.
Sally.
Yeah, Sally.
Sally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nurse
Picks him up
Sally.
at the train station, and they have a drive back, and she says, "Hey, you've had a you've had a backlog like in 2 weeks. Like everybody's been calling in. Like they've all wanted to see you for something. He's like, oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Why didn't they want to see the other doctors? They didn't want to see them. They just wanted you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, is
So-
it worth mentioning that he's coming back from a convention? That's why he was out of town. I don't know. That's like some background.
I guess so. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he was out of town.
He was out, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Just trying to help out, you know.
So on his way back to his office, he almost runs down a kid in the street.
Yeah.
They almost take him out with a car. The kid bolts out, middle of the street. His grandma's running after him, and then the doc hops out, runs after him. What's wrong with him? Oh, he doesn't want to go to school. Oh, those scampy 1950s kids.
Yeah.
They're looking for a body by a train. I don't know what they're doing. But so he's running from the voices he heard out of the sink. I don't know what's going on, but no, the kid doesn't want to go to school.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'll send him by the office later."
Yeah.
Little
Trying to-
Jimmy.
yeah, little Jimmy. So it takes off, goes to the office, and everybody's canceled. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
see him.
Yeah.
Just, oh, that's weird. So
Everybody seems to be.
Yeah, everyone's fine. They're walking around like nothing happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything's cool. So into his office strolls Becky.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, Becky.
Becky is a very attractive modern 1956 lady.
Yeah.
And they obviously have a past.
Oh, definitely.
They're very close right away. Body language is very strong, very good acting on both of their parts. And then I hear something surprising out of both of them. Both of them have recently been to Reno, which implies that both of them have been recently divorced. Which is pretty cool for 1956 that both of our interests, the love interests
Yeah.
of main two, have both been divorced recently. And I thought,
In the
that's
1950s.
it's pretty progressive. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Not
for
a
sure.
single black person in this movie, but
Yeah, other than that, yeah.
baby steps.
Exactly. Exactly.
One thing at a time.
You can't get it all. Yeah.
I guess they weren't good enough for the pods to replace. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know. It's 1950s. It's a different time.
yeah, different time. That's what it was.
Different time altogether.
That's where we at. Where we at on there?
Well, Becky comes in and
Okay.
she's talking about her cousin Wilma.
Oh, okay.
Has a feeling that her uncle Ira isn't her uncle Ira.
Yeah. So she was like, "Hey, you should go check out Wilma." And we learned that Jimmy's freaking out because he thinks his mom isn't his mom.
Yeah.
So we have two instances. So he goes to see Wilma's uncle Ira.
Yeah.
And everything's fine. He's mowing the lawn with. I don't know if you've ever seen these. I've only seen them in. I don't know if this will date anyone who's seen them before, but I have only seen these lawnmowers in like the first couple of Jim Henson's Garfield books from the 1970s. They're like the push ones with the blades.
Yeah.
They're like wheels that move. Before us spoiled kids had our fancy like gas powered
Oh my
lawnmowers
gosh,
with
right.
spinny blades. People actually had to go outside with a rotor blade and just push it along and try to
Manually.
cut the grass manually like
Yeah.
barbarians. So,
Like Seymour
Anyway.
Crowbar in Little Shop of Horrors.
yeah, basically. So, and another thing that jumps out about me in this scene, so they're like, "Hey, your uncle's your uncle. Everything's
Yeah.
the same." And she's like, "Yeah, Wilma says, yes, he is the same, but there's no love in his eye. There's
Yeah,
no
there was
spark."
no emotion. Yeah.
Yeah. He looked at me and he would glow, and now he doesn't, which she also mentions that she was raised by her uncle, which was also a nice touch.
Yeah.
By me, it could have been her father and her mother, but no, it's the uncle that raised her. It's just there's a lot of little subtle touches in this movie that make it very human, make it feel more real. It's not a perfect stainless world of the 1950s. It's there's chinks in the armor,
Yeah.
which is how life is.
Exactly.
So, and then the aunt, I guess, comes
Yeah.
out and says, "Oh, would you like to join us for some spoon bread?"
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is spoon bread?
Can you stay for dinner? Yeah.
Something to Google later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at this point, he gets in the car and we have a little voiceover. And this is the first time, sadly, I should have pieced this together from the, from the flashback. But it goes into some voiceover, and this is where I realized that this film kind of has a little bit of a film noir style.
Yeah.
Almost like, like a detective show from back in the day. Just,
yeah, it has a.
It has the voiceover. It has the people driving around, looking around corners, dark setting. It's like,
I dig.
I'm scratching my beard, nodding. I'd like to see where this goes. So
Yeah.
He takes Betty out to dinner,
Yeah.
and they go to a restaurant. It's a nice club,
Yeah.
and it's empty. Nobody's in
Well, before they go in, they see his friend Dan Kaufman.
there. That's right. That's right. I skipped over that.
Yeah.
So before they go in, they see his friend, the psychiatrist, Dan Kaufman,
Yeah.
and he's just outside the club with another doctor who I assume they're lovers. I don't know. They're positioned fairly close in the shot. One has his arm around the back of the chair. The other, maybe people were closer back then. Or,
Yeah.
maybe this movie is way more progressive than I initially assumed. Which is fantastic. I wouldn't put anything past this movie.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, it's, I came in with nominal expectations and I left saying, I see why this one stuck around. I see why it's part of the canon,
Yeah.
So they talk to him and he says, "Oh, I've been getting a lot of calls about,
Yeah. People not being people.
yeah, it's a reoccurring thing. Like he knows before our main Doc Miles.
Yeah, his first name's
Yeah.
Miles. I didn't catch his last name.
I think it was like Manil or something like
I
that.
have no idea.
Okay.
Manil.
Yeah, boy, we're good at this.
Let's go with
Miles.
Miles.
It is Miles.
Miles, yeah.
I know
That's
that's
the
the
name.
first name.
I've just been writing Doc in my notes here.
Okay,
they call him
I
Doc,
put
so.
Miles. So.
Yeah, we don't know the main character's first name. That's
Last
spectacular.
name. We don't know his last name.
Well,
Well, we didn't really say. They said it a couple times.
Yeah, it's mostly like I hear mostly Miles or just Doc. So.
Anyway,
Miles.
so we establish this psychiatrist character who's in our world. He's part of there, and he's like, yeah, I've been getting a lot of calls about this, and he even knows about the 2 cases before the
Yeah.
doctor brings it up.
Yeah. Because he wants to
so-
send Wilma to go see Dr. Kaufman. Yeah.
So it's been pretty widespread. So they go into the club, but before they do, she says, "Oh, is this your bedside manner, doctor?" And he says, "No, that comes later." And it's like,
Yeah.
Here we
They're
go.
they're totally gonna get down.
Absolutely.
It's gonna happen.
So they go in, and this I really like because I can't imagine what it's like if you've never seen this movie from the 1950s. But I know a little bit about it. People are being replaced with mindless drones. You can kind of figure it out. It's very
Yeah.
Twilight Zone-esque.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It definitely had that feeling.
Yeah, but maybe it's because Twilight Zone is like encapsulation of the time, and we've never seen
Yeah.
it's the things around it yet. So that's the only thing we can relate it to.
I guess that's a fair point.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, like any moment, I thought he was gonna walk out.
Yeah. Like this evening on the Twilight Zone. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I kind of got that feel too.
Yeah.
With some
Anyway.
just what's
Yeah.
happening and stuff.
So they go in, and I thought this was a lovely touch. So they go to this club, and he's like, "Oh, and you let the band." There's like, no band tonight to the owner, and he's there. He's like, "No, I had to let him go. We didn't have enough people because his restaurant is empty.
Yeah.
They can sit
ghost town.
anywhere," which is a great point because if everybody's pods, nobody likes to go out and sing and dance. Which
Yeah.
And they
you
don't
know,
even-
I like movies where the world makes sense, where they don't slap you in the face with like something. It's like, I don't know, this restaurant's been really empty lately. It's
Yeah.
almost like no one wants to dance. They're just like, oh, I had to let them go. It was
Yeah,
too
it's
slow.
like the subtlety.
Yeah,
Yeah. They don't
it's
have to
great.
like go over the top.
I hope you didn't let the bartender go. No, that's me. He hops behind the bar, starts making things.
Yeah.
Miles and Betty start getting into a little bit of a dance.
Dancing, yeah.
And then the phone rings. They got an urgent call, which I felt bad for the bartender because he already poured the drinks
Yeah.
when they took off. So
Oh man.
yeah, so they leave to go. I never caught their names. I never.
Oh,
knew who they
the
were.
couple of guys,
Yeah.
Jack and his wife Teddy.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah,
Jack
I
and
remember.
Teddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy that
Yeah.
we'll find out later.
Yeah. So
Because Jack has an emergency. At
yeah,
his house.
they have an emergency at his house, and so they run off, and Betsy goes with them. Or I'm sorry, Becky.
Yeah, I know.
Becky.
Having Madman flashbacks.
Yeah, we're thinking of a different movie. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
So
Just her and TP just circling.
all right, so Betty comes. So sorry, I did it again.
Yeah.
Becky.
So Becky
Yeah.
accompanies Dr. Miles over to their house, to the house of who again?
Jack and Teddy.
Jack and Teddy. I think I'd remember that, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't catch Teddy's name till like deeper into the movie.
No, neither did I.
Yeah.
This is like at the end when I first heard it. So they go to Jack and Teddy. Teddy's got his pipe in his mouth.
No, Teddy's the wife. Jack's
I'm sorry, yes, Jack.
Yeah, Jack's the
Not me.
I know, it's weird a chick named Teddy. That was odd to me too.
Yeah, I don't know what that would stand for. What that would be
I
short
have
for.
no idea.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Teddy's the
Yeah,
basically.
Teddy's the chick.
Yeah.
Jack's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jack opens the door. He's got his pipe. You know, he looks like your 50s guy. He's got a pipe in. I feel like if you draped like a sweater over his shoulders, he'd look just at place in like a 1950s winery. he's got a little bit of a snobby, voice going on.
Bit.
Just a hair, just a tad. You know, he seems like the person that would be hanging out with the town doctor.
Yeah.
So right when he comes in, he's like, "Can you forget you're a doctor for a minute and not call the cops?"
Yeah. Like, what are you walking into when the first thing a guy says is like, "Yeah, don't call the police."
It's like, well, maybe.
It's like, do I have to worry about
They
my
walk
personal
in,
safety?
and the wife, she's obviously not having it.
Yeah,
Teddy's,
she's
she's freaking out. She's like, "Oh, help!" Running back and forth, all terrified, and the husband's kind of taking it in stride. And they go in, and there's something on the pool table.
Yeah.
And the doctor comes, and he pulls back the blanket, and there's a body there, and it's blank. That's what they call it too. They call it a blank.
Yeah, they said it was like a first print of a coin.
Yeah, so just kind of a shape of a person.
Yeah.
It has details. It has a nose. It has eye sockets, but it looks like kind of an anatomical.
But it's like nondescript, like who it is. Yeah.
Like everyone doing this podcast right now.
Whoa, speak for yourself.
Oh, that's
I'm clearly defined as a masculine man.
That's right. I'm sure we can all hear that through your booming voice.
I know.
That lovely baritone coming through the mic.
It's so sad. I always used to think I sounded so cool, and then I listen to this stuff, and I'm like, oh crap.
Listen to your own voice. You don't like the sound of your voice.
It's like shrill. It's so bad. Anyway, back to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Body on the table.
Yeah. So they got a body, and they're discussing, oh well. Who is this? I don't know. It's not in the script. And so then...
No fingerprints.
Then Teddy mistakes the doctor for, like, a guy at a carnival. Because he's seen the dude's face, and the thing pulled back, and she asked the doctor, like, how tall is he? I don't know, 5'10"? How much does he weigh? I don't know, about 215?
Right.
Damn! Doc's on top of it.
Guess so, man. I would never been able to guess that.
Well, I guess if you're a doctor and you do a physical every time, I guess you'd get good at it.
Yeah,
but,
I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, for me it was like, holy shit.
He's like, $5. I'll guess your weight. Like,
yeah, working outside. So
he knows what's up.
So the doctor. Jack cuts his hand on a glass.
Yeah.
When she says it's kind of like you, Jack, and Jack, cuts his hand on a glass when that's said, and the doc is like, oh, I think you'll live. Put some cotton on it, makes it look all nice.
Yeah.
And then they take off.
Yeah.
They leave the body, and he says, well, since this is interesting, we won't call the cops, but if nothing happens by the morning, call the police. If something happens, call me. He still thinks he's in control of the situation.
Yeah.
So he leaves to drop off Becky.
Yeah, at her house.
So he goes over there and drops her off, and then we run into Becky's dad, who's coming out of the basement.
And they,
Oh, yeah. So before he drops them off, they have a little back and forth of her turning on the lights.
Yeah.
And she turns off the lights, or no, other way around.
Yeah.
He's trying to get some action.
Exactly. He wants to show that bedside manner. That's what he wants to show.
The corpse did not, put any bump in his stride.
No dampers, man. He's just in it.
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah. He was ready.
Yeah, it was great, man. Yeah, and then the dad comes up.
The dad comes up, so she's living with her father at the moment. So he comes. Becky's dad comes up. Oh, just working on some stuff in the basement.
Right.
And
kill the hooker. Normal stuff.
Yeah. So who knows? So this kills the mood. The doc's like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
He's
like bolts, man, as soon as he can. He's like, I'm out. I was not trying to sleep with your daughter, I swear. Sir?
No problem, right?
Yeah.
So then, we go back to Teddy and Jack.
Yeah.
and the body stirs just slightly. It looks like its eyes are fluttering, but nothing's really going down.
Yeah.
While they're both asleep at a bar at their bar by their pool table.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in the rec room.
I got a fancy house.
Yeah, it's 1950s white people.
Yeah, there you go.
Profiting off the
How it goes.
inequities.
Yeah.
That's how it seems to go, huh?
Anyway, long story short, wife goes over to it and sees that the corpse that's looking decidedly more like Jack has a
Yeah.
scar on his hand.
Yeah, where Jack got cut. Yeah.
You're where Jack got cut. So she freaks out and they run out of the house.
Yeah, they're like,
Go straight to the doctor's house. You know,
Yeah.
as any of us would. Now my question is, does the doctor have a scar on his hand at this point? Because if the body has, I don't know who's
Jack,
who.
yeah.
I don't know if at some point the weird amorphous clay thing switched places with him. I don't know if the weird amorphous clay thing has now gained a scar to further mimic Jack, or if Jack and the amorphous clay thing pulled a switcheroo in the middle of the night. I don't know. I still don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're with Jack for the rest of the time because he seems panicked and frightened.
Yeah.
So probably the body, the amorphous clay thing, the blank, has added a scar to its Jack cloning repertoire.
Yeah.
So they run. They're like, "You got to see this. It's like Jack." And I just have to take a moment to say that the doctor is wearing a rocking robe.
Oh, yeah.
It is outstanding.
Yeah.
You're the guy that would appreciate the robe.
I do appreciate robes.
Yeah.
So Doc hears all this. He calls a psychiatrist over to talk to him, and they're sitting there talking for a while. Or no, he calls the psychiatrist, and then after he makes the call, he goes, "Becky." Something. He's got a feeling. He's got a bad feeling about Becky. So he runs over to Becky's house,
Yeah.
breaks the window to the basement,
Yeah.
crawls in there, and
Because he doesn't want to ring the doorbell.
Yeah, he doesn't want to ring the
alert
doorbell
dad.
because he doesn't want to, warn anybody that he thinks something's up. So he breaks
Yeah.
the window, sneaks into the basement, and lights a match.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, man, I really hope the dad wasn't working on a gas leak.
This movie just turned.
Yeah.
It'd be a very, very interesting end. But he's poking around here and there, and looking for something.
Yeah, whatever.
He
Whatever
burns through 2 matches, and then he opens up a little. I don't know what it is. Like a little.
Yeah. It's like a trunk or something.
Yes, well, I don't know. It's like a toolbox. They're
Yeah.
like something that you would throw rakes in.
Yeah. I wouldn't know what to call it.
No, it's
Just kind of.
not quite a box.
Yeah.
It's smaller than a shed. It's not. 'Cause
Yeah.
It flips open. But anyway, that's neither important. But he sees a blank Becky in there.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit! Takes off through the thing, and
Yeah, he runs upstairs, man.
he
Yeah,
runs
he's
back.
ready
he
to
runs
go.
back to Jack and Teddy at his house.
Well, he goes upstairs first, right?
Does he?
Yeah, because he sees the
Oh, that's right.
body. He
Yeah,
runs
he
upstairs
runs
and
up.
grabs the
He
old
runs
lady,
up
man.
and he grabs Becky.
Yeah, and
I
he
forgot.
runs out of the house, man.
Yeah, he runs up there. He grabs Becky, who is a very deep sleeper,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he takes off with her running down the street. And then we cut to him back at his house.
Yeah,
the
then he goes back
psychiatrist
to
is
the
here, and psychiatrist isn't having any of this.
Yeah.
He's like, so you found a body, and he's like, no, it's not just any body, it's a blank body. And he's like, oh, let me see it. So they go down there to see it, and there's no body.
No.
There's nothing there.
Of course.
And they were like, well, no, you should have seen it. It looked more like him. It was the exact height and weight. It didn't have any fingerprints, which we failed to mention. But,
Yeah.
just more amorphous blob blank stuff.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, you probably found a body. And
Yeah.
it was probably, if somebody's getting murdered, they're probably shady. So he probably burnt off his fingertips.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
But I don't know if any of you have ever attempted that, but it leaves some scars, I can tell you. So,
Yeah.
it wouldn't just be, but, they brush past
Yeah,
all
Kaufman's just doing everything he can to kind of dispel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
devil's
Kaufman,
advocate.
the psychiatrist, is just like, no. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, let's go see Becky. Which this happens a lot. I think they should always go out of order, like with the last thing that they saw, because
Yeah.
it gives them more time to
Yeah.
switch things up. So they go back through the basement. Not through the front door.
No.
but all 3 of them.
Which
Jack,
I'm pretty sure he
Kaufman-
left open anyway.
Jack, Kaufman, and Dr. Miles all crawl through the window, I guess, because the dad still didn't wake up. So they all, I guess that's how they got in, and they're looking around, and There's no body there either.
No.
And the psychiatrist is just like, yeah, you're all imagining things. It's possible, you know.
Part of the hysteria going around.
Yeah.
You're like, even doctors can have hallucinations. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, they're human.
yeah, we're all human. And then the dad comes down with a shotgun. What the hell's going on down here? It's like, oh, thanks for joining us, man. You know, your house has been broken into twice tonight. I'm glad you got the one.
And then see the joke. We're turning your basement into an office.
Didn't even bother to knock or anything. Just let themselves in.
Yeah.
The dad is understandably pissed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would be. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I would have gone down shooting already.
Yeah, and then he says he called the cops.
Yeah. And then the cop shows up in the window.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on down here? We found a body. It's like, oh, 5'10", missing fingers. Yeah, he was found burning in a haystack an hour ago.
Yeah.
I have a mind to haul half you in. You know better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Officer. So, I think this is nice because, you know, some people will stick to their guns, but when you're surrounded by like 3 people and an authority figure, like a police officer, you got to back down. It's like, oh, well, I guess I was crazy.
Yeah.
My bad.
So then we cut to breakfast, which
Yeah.
looks lovely.
And they're just so cute.
Yeah, no, they're like
fantastic.
like honestly, there is a chemistry here. Like a lot of times, like
undeniable.
a lot of times it's fake and you can see, but no, like these people are very attracted to each other.
Yeah.
And Sano, good actor, good direction.
I was like.
Did you
oh.
believe it? Like, did you feel
Yeah,
like?
I did.
Okay, all right.
I was buying it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this.
I was into it too. So.
Yeah.
So they're talking back and forth, and oh, did your wife make you breakfast? Yes, but I was barely around for it. You know, just things doctors
fine.
say, I guess.
Yeah.
So then, you know, does Jack come by?
Yeah. Jack comes in.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, so Jack comes by. It's like, hey, I thought you'd like to check things out. It's like, unless you had some other plans. And he looks back. He's like, oh, I was toying with some ideas.
Yeah.
Because, man, he and Becky can't catch a break.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they can't get any alone time.
Well, yeah, because Teddy doesn't want to go back to the house. You know.
Yeah.
And so you know, Jack's like, can we stay here?
Yeah.
So,
And
Well, he is the
Bob's
doctor, so.
Yeah.
yeah, so the doctor walks out and he runs into Wilma
Yeah.
of Uncle Ira fame.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, I was being silly. Ha, 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 ha. You know, everything's fine.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, that's good. And then he volunteers the information that Becky's at my house.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh God.
And she goes back into her house, and,
Yeah.
and Becky's dad is there, and she's like, she's still at Miles's house. And
Yeah.
he nods, and like, oh, great.
Like,
So they have a dinner party.
Well, before that, he goes back. To
Oh
his
yeah, he
office,
goes back to the office. I'm sorry.
And they got
So-
little Jimmy.
And they got Jimmy. Jimmy's all happy reading a book,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess everything's fine. And then they have a barbecue.
Yeah.
You know, did you remember the stakes? I never forget anything. The doctor has the stakes. You
Yeah.
know, good. The stakes are low because he brought the stakes.
yeah.
And they're having a good time. You know, fun's being had. The doc happens to step into his.
Uh-oh.
I,
Good.
I guess I didn't need to sneeze after all.
Well, there you
So,
go.
Doctor steps into his greenhouse and he sees the pod. The first
He sees a
the
pod.
first pod of the movie, and it's kind of cracking open, really like
Oh yeah, it looks great.
alien-esque,
Yeah.
which is probably pod-esque because this came, you know,
Well,
And-
yeah.
Alien was what, 79,
Yeah, something like I think it was
Yeah.
79.
on the cusp of the 80s. So yeah, so Alien was probably pod-esque, but you know,
Yeah.
just it's cracking open, it's oozing, there's bubbles and pus coming out of it. It's gross.
Yeah.
And
it
the
looks
doc
nasty.
sees this and understandably freaks the hell out. Starts yelling. There's a whole army of people behind him, Jack and Teddy and Becky, and they're all looking at it, trying to figure out what to do, what's going on. Is it shooting out little balls of clay? It's
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks.
great little noises coming out, and they're rolling and flattening, and they look like they're turning into little plant babies. It is
Yeah,
gross.
like bubbling and frothing and just all kinds of
It's
gross
good stuff. It's
yeah,
really good
it looks
stuff.
really gnarly. Yeah.
They spared no expense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciated it. It was gross though.
So the doc tells him to watch them, make sure nothing happens, and he tries to get on the phone. He's like, "Give me the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You know, give me the LA office. I'm sorry, all the lines are down. Give me Sacramento. Those lines are down too.
Or they're busy, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit, they got the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get
You
the
know,
operator. Yeah.
They can't get there. So Doc runs back out. looks at Jack and says, "You guys got to get out of here. You know, I'm gonna wait by the phone, see what happens. You know."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we can't leave you." It's like, "Oh, you got to go get help. If the phones are down, we're screwed." So, So Doc takes the pitchfork, goes in, and he does what has to be done.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before he does what has to be done, one of my favorite shots in the movie, it's a low tracking shot of Jack with his pitchfork surveying the blobs that are all slowly turning into the four of them.
Yeah.
And it's just shot so well, just pitchfork to body.
Yeah.
It's just slowly moving pitchfork to really, really good looking shot.
Yeah.
So the Doc pitchforks all of the versions of them that are weird alien things.
Reluctantly at first,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, he
He's a little
doesn't
bit.
want to. Like I don't know. Last night he was itching to stab Becky, and now it's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what
so-
happened there.
And then while he's stabbing it, the operator calls back.
Yeah.
It's like the lions are still down.
So they decide to take up.
Yeah, Becky and Miles.
Yeah. So they run out. They try to get out of there, and while they're running and they get out, the cops are called on them. You know, I guess the operator.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, you know, they give out an APB on him. They give him the description, so all the police are out to try to get him. So now they're fugitives in their own city, running around trying to. They park the car somewhere and they decide to hide out in his office.
Yeah.
In the doc's office. Right?
Really good looking shots here. The night, they filmed night very well. The shadows look great. Everything coming around the halls, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Feast for the eyes. They hide out in the closet,
Yeah.
which isn't checked for some reason.
Well, the guy, he looks in the thing.
Yeah, he looks in, but you know the pod people aren't very great, you know,
No.
at searching.
Yeah, no,
They're
no.
not very thorough.
Yeah.
So Becky brings up that they can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
This confuses me a little bit. Like, I understand the idea is when they sleep, the pod copies their mind into the already amorphous clay thing, into the blank.
Yeah.
And I get that, but is there a proximity limit? How close do they have to be to a pod? Where, you know,
Yeah.
it just seems really open-ended that they just, you know, that they can't sleep. You know, Freddy Krueger, it makes sense. He's in the dreamscape. He can go anywhere. But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
They don't really figure it out, or you know.
But in the morning, everything's normal.
Yeah.
Just they look outside and everybody's walking around like nothing happened, and some people get off a bus and they get driven away like just like they were when they came into town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was fine. And then the second the strangers who get off the bus are gone, they all converge in the square. Just every person in the town forms a mob in the middle. And trucks pull up.
Yeah.
Trucks filled with pods. And a police officer gets up on a bench or something with a megaphone, and he directs everybody, people with family members here, here, and here, your pods are in truck 1, bring your pods wherever, and they all get into cars. And this was interesting to me, because up until then, I was assuming that the pods were all on some kind of hive mind, that they were all communicating in some other way. But since you have a cop standing on a bench with a bullhorn, obviously you have to communicate thoughts and ideas in a standard way. So these are essentially human.
Yeah.
Human visages, human bodies.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have any special abilities or powers. They're just replicants. Or no, replicants machine. They're just replicas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different. Yeah, it's more
Okay.
clear.
I apologize for my slip up.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So,
That's probably what you wanted to say.
yeah, so Jack comes back. You know, the doorknob shakes. I'm
Because
like,
they're
"Oh,
waiting for him to show
Yeah,
up.
they're like, oh shit, and then, you guys in here? It's Jack. So they open up the door, and Jack pulls in, and Kaufman's behind him.
Yeah.
And is all like, oh, you know, it's all fine on this end, on this side. You know, we're happier this way.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Teddy likes it too. You know, so Jack got caught.
That's when we're
Yeah.
like, oh man.
They got him. And in the pod people's defense, they're very civil.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, hey, you know, you guys are going to fall asleep eventually. We're going to leave the pods here. You know, they're strong-arming them. They tell them straight up, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, there's nothing
But,
you can do. Yeah.
You know, so they're just going to wait for them to sleep.
Oops, sorry, buddy.
So they put the pods in the room next door, and they ask them, "Would you like to see them hatch?" And they're like, "No," which is great because if I'm leaving the dentist's office, like I would like to see the teeth that they pulled, or like it's just fun to be part of the process, like to be involved. But I would have liked to see it if I had no choice. I would have liked to see them hatch.
Might as well.
No way. No way.
No, you wouldn't want to see.
No, dude, I would spend every last moment.
Struggling and
getting
fighting
down. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, because you're with Becky in this.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like you're gonna become the pod, and you're not gonna want to bang anymore because no more emotions.
Ooh,
you get out. You get in.
What happens to a fetus if the pod takes over a pregnant woman?
I have no idea.
This is interesting ground.
We haven't
think about that.
That wasn't something that happened. So.
No, but anyway, maybe for the reboot.
Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah.
One better than the Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that one.
I saw it when I was like 11 or something. I don't know. It was like 2007, so that's.
Yeah.
I don't.
All right. So
maybe I was younger. Maybe I was older. You'll never know.
Yeah. So they're in the room with the pods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Keeping on track.
So they ask, why don't they just give us a sleeping pill or inject us or something? Oh, I'm sorry. Before they leave them in the room, Kaufman says, "There's no anger or love or hate.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. You're just emotionally neutral." The doctor.
Because they're more
Dr.
efficient
Miles,
that way, right?
yeah, Dr. Miles is like, a world without love, what's the point? He's like, oh,
amen, man.
But Dr. Kaufman's much more existential about the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a scientific man.
Because I think their point right now is the propagation of the pod species.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So he's kind of like trying to appeal to. He's like, "Oh, you're a scientist."
Well, and they explain the pods too, like how
the pods came from space.
Yeah.
Which earlier the doctor had a second, which he said he didn't know where they came from. And I like movies where they kind of leave it open ended.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, here's the situation, we have to deal with it. Like, like Tremors, we don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
That's
the first Tremors.
That's a fun one.
Tremors is.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Wow, one Tomas has seen.
That's one movie I've watched, yeah.
All right. I think that's the first time we've brought up a movie that all three of us have seen.
Yeah. That was a good one.
That makes me
That's a good one. That's a good one for us to have.
If you, dear listener, have not seen Tremors, wait for our Tremors podcast. I don't know if we'll do one, but...
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, because we've all seen it. So
we're trying to do stuff we haven't seen.
Yeah. Tremors is excellent. Please go see it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Please go see it.
I agree. I'll second that.
Yeah.
So why they just didn't give him a sleeping pill? He says we can't take sleeping. It addles the mind.
Yeah.
Then they want a perfect mind because drugs will mess with them.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
Which I wonder if you take some sleeping pills, and you mess up the pod, and it comes out like Sloth from Goonies.
Like all messed up. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Do you get a free pass? Do they wait for you to fall asleep again? Because I think you could just cheat the system if you kept. I don't know.
Does the pod know though?
Well, the pod seems like it just
takes over, right?
Copying your consciousness.
Yeah.
Outside of while you're asleep. So I don't know. I'm looking for loopholes. I'm looking for abuses.
I can't get over this Sloth thing because now I'm thinking about it's just like a pod person coming and go, "Mom, you've been bad." You've seen the Goonies.
I have seen the Goonies.
That's just one of the lines that says to her. And she's like, "Oh, I know, I've been bad."
Is that a line?
Yeah, I swear. Sloth says that at one point, and that's all I'm thinking. He'd be mad that she took pills. I'm so sorry, people. I am so sorry.
So
that was pretty good, though.
So the doc has a good idea.
I'm dying.
They're still in the office.
Yeah.
He's still surrounded by powerful medications.
Yeah.
So he realizes, hey, I can't take them both out. And she's like, it's not 3-on-1. It's not. It's 3-on-2 because you got me. And she's like, all right. So he gives her a syringe and he grabs 2. And he makes a loud noise. He's got a little back door there, and they go to check it out. And while they're doing that, he slips around back and stabs them both with needles.
Yeah.
Just full injects them.
Yeah.
And they struggle for a while, but then they give up. The cop outside is banging on the door. He rushes in, and then Becky stabs him with a needle while he is strangling the dude. So I don't know. I guess there's some anger. There's some,
that's the thing.
there's some ambition because he says there's no ambition, but their ambition is to spread the seeds.
Yeah.
Right?
It just seems kind of weird. Yeah.
Maybe it's just
like for their survival
thing with the seeds themselves. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's true because they're trying to survive, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like you're just left with that, like your natural instinct to survive, or
So then.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's all about survival. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
That makes
Tomas
sense.
Good
made
job.
sense. Yeah,
Good job, Tomas.
Yeah, see, that's why I
There
keep
you
you around.
There you go.
So,
Pay you the big bucks.
So Doc has a good idea. He tells Becky, okay, we're gonna go out on the street.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes wide, look uninterested, like she was last night, and just walk completely blank. So they go out, and honestly, she does it better than he does, because he's kind of looking around. He looks nervous, but she, she's a woman in the 1950s. She's
gets
used to
it.
looking uninterested at just all the terrible things men are doing around her.
Yeah.
Just blank-eyed stare, walking forward, and another cop runs into him.
Yeah.
And the doc goes, "We're with you now." And he goes, "Oh, that's nice. They said they were going to call. The lines were busy." And starts walking, and immediately when they walk away, a dog comes into the street and almost gets hit by a truck.
Yeah.
And Becky screams, "No, stop!"
Yeah. She freaks out, man.
Now, this is funny to me. The cop who sees this, doesn't open up his mouth and start screaming. He goes, "Wait a minute." And he walks back up to go look at the place where they were supposed to be potted. And, he finds the things, but I think you just know,
Yeah.
Like, we don't scream.
Yeah, right.
You would
So-
think, but
But he's had that one moment.
Was she on sleeping pills or something?
could be. Yeah. That might be right.
So there, now it's a big chase.
Yeah.
The town
They found
knows,
out, yeah.
a siren goes off, and it's a great sounding siren. Like,
Yeah.
it's my favorite siren I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
The Star Wars sirens are good, coming out
Oh,
of
yeah.
coming out of the Star Destroyers, like woo,
Yeah.
woo. This one sounds like almost like an animal cry, like a mechanical, like. Woo.
Yeah, it's pretty
I'm
cool.
not gonna do whale noises into the mic all day, but just it's a bitchy
fun, though.
siren.
Yeah, it sounded cool.
So they take off and
And they run
Yeah.
into the hill.
yeah, they go into the hills. I have the high ground. I don't know. They run up there. These hills do not have eyes. They take
Of
up off the
course.
steps, and Becky's not having it. She's wearing heels. She has
Yeah.
not done cardio in a long time. She cannot keep up.
Yeah, you
Lagging
can tell.
behind, yeah.
He's dragging her like full sprint behind her, and she's trying to keep up, and he realizes she's not going to make it. So they go into a mine shaft.
Yeah,
She can't run anymore.
Yeah.
And then he finds some planks on the ground, and he takes them up, and they both dive in and puts the
It's
planks
like a
back,
hole
and the
underneath.
whole town runs over him. And then immediately after, the whole town runs back out. So once again, pod people aren't very thorough.
No. They're just like, oh, we didn't
But
see
maybe
him.
that's the thing. They're all like each other. They're completely homogeneous. So,
Oh, okay.
So if one of them, no one will ever have a clever idea.
Yeah,
Maybe that's part of the.
that could be true.
Yeah. So maybe it's not a plot hole.
Oh.
Yeah. They're smarter than I am.
Look at you, breaking it down.
Figuring it out.
They thought it out, the writers.
So they come out after a while, and they're trying to stay awake so bad. They have like cave water that they're splashing on their face, and then they hear beautiful music coming out. And it's like, well, if someone's still playing music, there's still humans out there. And here, if I was French, is where I would end the film.
Yeah.
Just a fin.
Yeah.
It's just they're cave people now.
Yeah.
And maybe somewhere out there in the hills, there's music being played by people. But since we're Americans and we really want to know how this thing ends,
Yeah, we need resolution.
so he goes out to the hills. He leaves Becky, which I wouldn't split up for anything at this point. Like I'd
Yeah.
be stuck with somebody like Glue because you never know if you come back.
Well, yeah, because you can't trust anybody once they've been left alone.
Exactly,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
And
the
she was
thing,
already tired.
Yeah, exactly.
but way less cool.
Yeah, because
I mean, this is a cool movie, but it is not the thing.
No, I'm-
Nothing is the
Come
thing.
on, John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
Kurt
that
Russell.
name.
Best carpenter since Jesus.
Right? Exactly.
So high praise. So he goes to check out the music, and he climbs over the hill, and he does not find people singing or people dancing.
No.
It is a truck radio,
Yeah.
a truck filled with pods outside of a huge greenhouse,
Yeah,
man,
it's
with
a
all
pod
kinds
farm.
of people. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
pod farm. So he's like, oh shit, and then they immediately turn off the radio once he sees it. So he's like, so he goes back. See, Becky is like, we got to get to the city. We got to make it to the highway because this is just spreading, which I think is good because I think they would have been fine hiding out. But him seeing the radio and the pods reminds him it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know? Like, we got to go and we got to get out and we got to warn people.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And she's like falling asleep.
Yeah, she's like, I can't make it.
Yeah.
He's like, you can make it. I can't make it. And then they fall down. And I think this is really human because they fall down and he doesn't say, "Oh, are you okay?" He kisses her on the neck, which some people might think is weird, like, "Oh, they're falling down in the mud," but he's like, "Are you okay?" Like he's trying to get some life into her,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
some kind of like, and there hasn't been anything and no effect, and it just works for me.
Yeah.
It's like this is good, and then when he stops kissing her, he looks into her dead, soulless eyes because she's fallen asleep.
Yeah. They emphasize that, like how she opens her eyes.
Yeah, she opens her eyes and her pupils are like a mile wide. It's just, oh no. Or I'm sorry, not her pupils, her iris.
It's like not Becky.
Yeah. No, they got Becky. And Becky's like, no, it's better this way.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Which like, I don't know how bad Doc was in bed.
Right.
That is not, that's not a good endorsement on him. That's better being a mindless pod person subjected to another makeout session with the Doc.
Oh my gosh. Fuck.
So this pretty much breaks him. This is the moment why we see a raving mad lunatic. He runs out of there, tries to make it to the highway. The whole town follows him.
Yeah.
Everybody does, but he makes it to the highway by the skin of his teeth, and the whole town stops because they're like, no one will believe him.
Yeah, like he's crazy.
So he's out in the middle of the road banging on cars. You have to help me. They're coming. They're coming for you next. And then there's a truck, and he tries to jump on there. It's like, hey, you got her. He's like, get off, you're drunk. Kicks him out. He tries to hop in the back of the truck, and in the back of the truck is this shit ton of pods.
Yep.
Excellent. He just can't get away from it. He's in the middle of the road. Cars are around him. Ah, help! No, please! You have to listen to me! And then it washes out.
Yep.
Washes out to him talking to the people. And just...
Back from the beginning.
Back to the beginning. It's like, oh, you guys, you have to believe me. I know you don't believe a word I'm saying, but you have to stop acting like you're measuring me for a straight jacket and listen to my story. And they're like, yeah, sure. And they leave, and the doctor, the orderly, the guy, he's like, I don't know, man, this guy's crazy. And the psychiatrist goes, if it's a nightmare, he is crazy. But if there's anything to it, we're kind of in trouble. So he's, the psychiatrist, there's an inkling of belief in him.
like he's like reasoning, like at least he's like, if it is real,
Yeah, he's got a tinge of doubt in him.
Yeah.
So then they wheel in somebody on a stretcher.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what's wrong with him? It's like, oh, his legs and arms are smashed to bits. He was in an accident with a truck. He's covered in weird looking pods. Pods?
Yeah.
Yeah, where was it coming from? It's coming from that weird doctor's city. Like Santa Marina?
Santa Mara? Something like that.
Santa Mara, Santa Mira?
Something like
Santa
that.
Mira, yeah.
Santa Mira. So coming from Santa Mira. And then the doctor hears this, our good doctor, the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist tells the police, get on the radio, cut off all traffic from Santa Mira. The cops take off, which, man, I wish I lived in a day where you could just walk up to the cops, like if you were a doctor, and just tell them this needs to happen now, and they listen, instead of just like, whoa there, buddy, and you getting detained and having a DUI.
Oh, that's
this is the 50s. People believed you. There's the benefit of the doubt. So you had to,
Well, people didn't suck yet.
People, So, well...
I mean, they did, but I mean, it wasn't like...
People sucked in different ways back then.
Now people are just terrible.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right.
So, then we leave on a great shot of just, they're calling everybody, they're getting to the FBI, and all this noise and commotion is happening, but we're just focused on the doctor's face. And he's too exasperated to be relieved.
Yeah, he's just had enough.
He knows that this mess is only just starting, that this will be a long, drawn-out fight, and he's on the wall, he's squinting and breathing hard and just struggling to stay awake and conscious, and he's broken, he's done.
Yeah.
The end. Just words on the screen, which is still open-ended.
Yeah, because we don't know.
We've concluded the doctor's arc. He's been brought low.
His part in the game's over.
Yeah. He did his job.
Yeah.
He warned everybody, so.
And he's done, and that's it, and that is the pod people.
Yeah, the invasion of the body snatchers.
I like how they ended it. It wasn't like.
Yeah, I liked it, man. I liked it from the beginning to end.
It was pretty short.
Great.
Yeah, no, and I was glad that there was no like a lot of movies will go with their weakness is asbestos and then spray asbestos everywhere.
Yeah,
and there was dying
signs with the water and crap.
Yeah, no, they ended on the note of people know.
Yeah.
it begins. Like, you know.
It's like, how are they gonna do it? Like,
Yeah.
it kind of leaves it to you.
Yeah,
Think about
it's,
it. Yeah.
You know, it knew where to end.
Yeah.
The story was done.
Yeah, because it's ambiguous. We don't know. Like,
Yeah.
pods have won. Who's won? You know, we don't know. Which is great.
I believe humanity will rise.
I do too.
So the movie was like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Pretty short.
Yeah, something like that.
Is that like average for this
Probably.
time period?
Yeah, around there.
Because now we got expect at least 2 hours, around 2 hours.
Well, it's like, I think a movie should be as long as short as long as it takes to tell the story, man. Like,
And
you know?
its story was told. It told the
Yeah.
story of this doctor, and he's accomplished his mission. He's the one who got the warning out.
Yeah.
The psychiatrist is going to get all the credit for this, of course. In the biopic afterwards.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for this man who found this man, we'd all be dead.
yeah, that's how it
So-
would happen, huh? I think that'll be fun.
Any other comments or notes? This movie was excellent.
I loved it.
I see why it stuck around so long.
Yeah, and that's, there has to be a reason why a movie keeps getting remade, right? Because there's
Yeah.
something to it, and obviously it was great.
The original.
There's
Well,
a lot of good material there.
Well, you watched the remake, right?
Yeah, I watched the 78
So how does it
remake.
compare?
It's awesome. The ending's, like, way more sad.
Well, thanks for telling.
Well, he asks, like, what do you want me to do? Not
It's like,
talk
how does it
about
compare to the new one, though? Like, to the remake? This is the original.
Is it like apples and oranges, or is there?
It's like a lot more. It's a lot more different. Like,
Okay.
I would say, okay. Well, I mean, the core is like basically the same, and like a lot of the key plot points are the same, but it doesn't begin or end with him telling the story. Like, you're in the thick of it the entire time.
Okay. So there's no safety net.
No, it's like you're in the.
So he's got to make it out because he's telling the story.
Yeah. No, it's not like that. It's really cool, and then I don't know. They just kind of set things up throughout the movie. There's no like big. I don't know. I would say it's worth watching. The 178 is worth
Well,
watching.
maybe we'll check it out sometime, and we'll do a comparison on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of refer
it'd
to
be
it.
good.
What would you give it? I liked it. I'll probably give it an A. Something like A minus. Something like that.
Solid B plus. High praise.
I think I know yours.
Yeah, as always, I'll give it an A plus because
Zach always gives an A.
You
it was
always-
a stellar movie, man. I got two of my best friends and a great movie. I'm not gonna rate it.
That's
down.
what it's all about.
Exactly.
That's what this whole thing's about.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, you're not going to give it a low grade.
No way, man.
If there's something for you to
Dude,
like.
it's hard to make a movie, man. I will tell
For
you this:
sure.
if I ever make a movie, I'm making black and white. It looks so cool, right?
Yeah, I like the atmosphere.
That'd be great.
It's good stuff.
Dude.
I don't have the lighting capacity to pull that off successfully.
Oh
'Cause
man.
you gotta think about everything.
Yeah.
All
I
the
like that.
details.
Black and white, man.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
I wouldn't even know what details to think about. Like,
Yeah.
I know pretty much nothing about that.
We could talk about that, but that's probably not.
We
Yeah.
touched on it a little bit, like some things that were in the movie that they did well about the shadowing and
A lot of every shot in the office looked really good with the shadows on the walls.
yeah,
Man, and like they did great of capturing his face, just haggard. His eyebrows are dark, he's lit from above, and he's just sweat coming off of him. He hasn't shaved, his beard's growing there's this constant feeling of desperation that you can't really escape once the movie starts rolling. Like it just haunts you the whole time. Like
Yeah. Like you can
you're-
feel like the panic and the anxiety.
Yeah,
of it
you're
all.
with him.
Yeah.
you're in it to win it with them. Like, that's
I
what
love
it
it,
is.
man. It's
Alright.
great. It was
It's a good
really
movie.
So
great.
definitely
And-
recommend it.
Yeah, definitely recommend.
Oh, highly recommended. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I'd
All
watch
right,
it again.
Yeah, I guess that's it then.
Yeah, I think
Alright.
this wraps this one up.
Nice and short.
Yeah,
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
All
All
right.
right, this was the pod people.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
See you.
Bye.
Have a good one.